My husband promised to spend midsummer with me and my family, but the night before, he left for a trip with his mom instead, barely contacted me, and now thinks he can fix it with gifts. I'm starting to wonder if our whole relationship only works because I really need a reality check. My husband and I had made a plan, a very specific, clearly communicated plan, to celebrate midsummer together with my family. He had promised. We talked about it more than once. I arranged my entire work schedule around this. I pushed myself to finish things early, cleared the days, and structured everything so that we could leave on time and spend the holiday together. Then, the day before we were supposed to leave, he tells me, casually like it's not a big deal, that he's going on a trip with his mom instead. A trip he had apparently also promised her but forgot about due to stress. Just like that. As though I hadn't also been under stress. As though my planning, my expectations, our agreement didn't matter. I was completely derailed. I couldn't focus. The one day I had set aside to finish everything before the holiday? Gone. I spent it too upset and distracted to do anything meaningful. And so, instead of enjoying midsummer, I worked. Alone. My family was kind about it. When they found out what happened, they said I could still come. But by then, it was too late to reorganize everything. I didn't have the time, the emotional energy, or the structure in place to just pivot. So I stayed home. Alone. Trying to catch up on the work I should have already finished. Meanwhile, he was off on a 4-day vacation with his mother. And, to make it worse, he barely even contacted me. No calls. Barely any messages. Just silence, except for the group text with my family where he chirped, "Happy Midsummer, everyone," while I sat in my apartment trying not to cry. When I did respond, I kept it polite. I said, "I'm glad you're having a nice midsummer. I'm actually completely alone right now." I explained gently that this wasn't okay. I didn't yell. I didn't attack. I just told the truth. My parents, well-meaning as they are, told me not to make him feel guilty. That he's struggling too. That he's trying to make amends, with offers of expensive dinners, a new ring, a future vacation. But what no one seems to understand is this. I don't want lavish gestures. I want to be considered. I want the bare minimum of being thought of and prioritized. I want someone who shows up when they say they will, not someone who disappears and then thinks they can fix it with receipts. The worst part is, I've said this before. Not just in passing, clearly. Calmly. Multiple times. I've told him that this isn't what a relationship should feel like. That I can't keep being the one who bends and adjusts and absorbs the disappointment while he gets to be spontaneous or forgetful or conveniently stressed. And every time, there's a moment where he seems to hear me. And then it fades. It's complicated because his relationship with his mother is deeply enmeshed and also weirdly distant. They're not emotionally close in the ways that matter. They don't talk deeply, they don't connect, but she buys him things. She pays for him. It's been like that since his father passed. There's a power dynamic, and part of me gets it. But it doesn't make it easier. Meanwhile, I come from a family that offers very little financial support, but is more emotionally present. Not perfect, but real. If I ask for money, I feel like a burden. I just finished my degree, and I haven't secured clinical residency yet. I'm holding myself up the best I can, stretching every resource. He's still a student, yet for him, it's natural that his mom foots the bill. No shame. No hesitation. And somehow, in this dynamic, I end up feeling like the needy one, even though I'm not the one being funded. It reminds me of something that always bothered me growing up. My maternal grandparents were the ones who showed up. They remembered birthdays. They listened. They helped us move. But it was my paternal grandparents, the ones who gave financial gifts, who seemed to be talked about more, considered more. As if the money outweighed the presence. It feels the same now in my marriage. His mother's monetary support seems to overshadow every emotional absence. I've even wondered, is this neurodivergence? Is he just wired differently? He comes from a family of engineers and researchers, and sometimes I've wondered if he struggles with executive functioning, or social cues, or empathy. But the more I think about it, the less I believe that's the case. I've worked with neurodivergent people, including autistic individuals, and once they understand your perspective, they care. They adjust. They show up. He doesn't show up. Unless it's convenient. Unless it benefits him. Unless he can buy his way out. And again, I'm not saying he's a bad person. We have good days. We laugh. We connect. We love each other. But about once a month, this happens. Some version of this. Where I feel small, erased, secondary. And when I try to talk about it, he either feels attacked or responds with things: dinner reservations, vacation plans, new jewelry. But never what I really need: accountability, self-awareness, a genuine change in how he shows up in this relationship. And honestly, I'm starting to wonder if most of our relationship works because I've been the one holding the emotional structure together. Because I'm the one project managing the household, the plans, the maintenance of us. For example, he forgot to buy me flowers for my graduation. Not the end of the world. But also, why? Why do I always have to be the one making the plans, remembering the dates, initiating the care? I don't want expensive rings or lavish dinners. I just wanted my partner to be there, to keep his word and support me when it mattered most. I wanted us to go to my family's midsummer celebration, like we planned. It wasn't about the event itself, but about the fact that he promised me we'd go together. I structured my whole week around that promise, finished work early, emotionally geared myself up, and then the day before, he casually tells me he's going on a trip with his mother instead. Something he forgot because of stress. I was stunned. Not just hurt, but completely disoriented. I couldn't focus. The day I was supposed to finish up work so I could relax with my family, I instead spent spiraling and unable to get anything done. Midsummer came and went. My family even kindly invited me to come without him, but it was too late. I didn't have the emotional bandwidth or logistical headspace to reorganize everything alone. So I stayed home, alone, working, while he went on a 4-day vacation, funded by his mother, with barely a text or call to check in. Now, he's trying to make it up to me, with gestures. We'll go to an exclusive restaurant, he says. I'll buy you a nicer wedding ring. He says he'll plan a trip, just the two of us. At first, I wanted to believe he was truly trying to make amends, but now, honestly, it just feels hollow. Like he's trying to pay off his guilt rather than actually face what happened. It's compensation instead of conversation. I already wear a wedding ring, one that belonged to my mother. It has history. It has meaning. But to him, it's something to be upgraded. I've told him before that I'd love to go out to nice places sometimes. Not for extravagance, but just to feel wanted, appreciated. But it's always me initiating those plans. I'm the one who finds restaurants, checks opening times, makes the reservations. I'm better at managing things, he says, but that's starting to feel like an excuse for emotional passivity. Even for my graduation, a once-in-a-lifetime moment, he forgot to get me flowers. I didn't want anything extravagant, just some small sign that it meant something to him too. Instead, I was left questioning if any of it meant anything at all. What makes this harder is that, most of the time, we're okay. We laugh together. We share the load. We have fun. We've supported each other through so many ups and downs. But about once a month, something like this happens. Something that shakes my sense of security in our relationship, because when I truly need him, he disappears. And part of that, I know, is rooted in his relationship with his mother. She has been deeply problematic and at times emotionally abusive, but their connection survives because of money. She funds things, vacations, clothes, even this trip he just took. He says if it weren't for the money, he would have cut her off. But he hasn't. Because money buys silence. It buys guilt's forgiveness. And I think he's internalized that same logic. My family is different. My parents don't pay for my vacations or upgrade my jewelry. I've paid my own way for years. They've supported me in quieter ways, offering their time, presence, care. Sometimes imperfectly, yes. But they show up. That's the difference. And when he tries to make things up to me with flashy dinners and jewelry, it reminds me of this same cycle with his mom. Use money to fix the damage, rather than addressing it at the root. It reminds me of my grandparents, too. My dad's parents gave money. That's where every financial gift came from. But my mom's parents? They showed up. They took care of us. They were present. Yet somehow the money counted more. That's always sat uncomfortably with me. There was a time I thought maybe it was something neurological. Maybe he's neurodivergent? He comes from a family of engineers and researchers, and there's a certain emotional detachment that sometimes accompanies that. But I've worked with autistic individuals, people with ADHD, and all kinds of processing styles, and what I've learned is that most of the time, once they understand, they adapt. They care deeply. They try. What I'm seeing now doesn't feel like misunderstanding. It feels like self-centeredness. Like a deep-rooted habit of prioritizing himself until someone else's need is impossible to ignore. I need to know that I matter. Not as a responsibility or a checkmark or an item on a to-do list. I want to know I'll be considered even when it's not convenient. That when he's making decisions, especially big ones, I factor in. That I'm not something he comes back to once everything else is handled. I've been open. I've communicated. I've explained how I feel, what I need. And yet these situations keep happening. And every time, the pattern is the same. He lets me down, then offers something shiny to make up for it. And I'm tired. I love him. And I believe he loves me. But love without presence, without reliability, starts to wear thin. If he truly wants to make things right, it won't be with rings or dinners or promises of future trips. It'll be in the everyday moments, the ones where I need him, and he actually shows up. I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking to be remembered, to be prioritized, to feel like I matter, not because of what I expect or demand, but because he wants to be there. That's what partnership is. Most of the time, my relationship with my husband is good. We laugh together. We support each other. We share our hopes and worries. We're partners in so many small, everyday ways. And I love that balance until the moments where I vanish. It started with Midsummer. It wasn't a small plan. I cleared my entire week, wrapped up work, arranged video edits, prepped lessons, and organized my schedule so that I could drive out to see my family the evening before the holiday. We had agreed he would come with me. He promised. I planned around that promise. I pictured sharing that day with him, cooking together in my childhood kitchen, spending time on the lawn with my parents, enjoying summer sun and familiar faces. In my mind, we were supposed to make that memory together. The day before, without warning, he changed everything. On the phone, calm but distant, he said he'd forgotten he had already promised his mother a trip. He was stressed. He couldn't cancel. He was choosing to go with her instead. He forgot our plan. That's how he put it. My heart cracked. It wasn't just the plan gone. All the effort and anticipation, the emotional preparation, the excitement of sharing something with him. It shattered. Instead of celebrating, I spent the day shaky and unfocused. My laptop sat open, my work files untouched. I could barely edit a single video. It wasn't just the stressful deadline, it was the emotional disconnection. I was trying to concentrate, but I couldn't. It felt like every hour I waited was a reminder that something important had slipped away. That evening, I typed a message in our group chat with my family. I'm glad you're having a nice midsummer. I'm alone today, finishing work. I wrote it calmly. No blame. Just stating facts. But everything in me was trembling. Their reply came quickly. Don't make him feel guilty, he's been stressed. He promised to make it up with dinner or a nicer ring, but let it go. They were trying to protect the peace, but I didn't feel protected. I felt erased. Like my sadness wasn't allowed because he decided I didn't matter enough to remember. Later, he texted a little apology. Sorry you had to work today. I want to take you somewhere nice soon. But again, it wasn't enough. It wasn't presence. It was planning compensation. It didn't bring me back to the place where I felt like we were a team. It turned my hurt into a transaction. I suffered. He reimbursed with gestures. He offered a nice dinner, an upgraded wedding ring, and a trip. He expressed his regret, but in a way that kept the spotlight on what he was going to give me, not what he should have been in the first place. And that drove the point home. I could be replaced with more elegance and comfort, rather than addressed as a partner who'd been let down. That's not love. That's damage control. Here's the pattern. I make a plan. We agree. I organize emotionally and practically. And then when the time comes, he disappears, usually by choosing someone else or by forgetting. It's as if I don't exist in the equation unless reminders are given. I have told him over and over, this cycle is not sustainable. It's not what a relationship should feel like. I don't yell. I don't scream. I speak calmly but firmly, eyes open. I say, we need to stop doing this. He hears me, but he doesn't change things. And maybe part of that is because I haven't walked away yet. Because I believe in us. Because I love him. Because most of the time we're good. But while I hesitate, the cycle continues, and each time, I hurt again. We have a communication breakdown sometimes. He's not malicious. Maybe he misses cues. I've considered if emotional disconnection comes from his upbringing. He's from a family of engineers and researchers. But I've met deeply empathetic, neurodivergent people who care greatly once they understand. The difference there, I think, is intention. My husband doesn't seem to intend forgetfulness. He just forgets until I'm visibly hurt. Then he decides to act. When it matters most, he's nowhere to be found. He often says he's stressed or overwhelmed. He feels guilt in those moments. And yes, I want to extend compassion. I want to support him through his stress. I do. But love doesn't vanish when things get hard. Love stays. That's a promise. Fell short, but you stay and you repair. It's been almost a year of these once-a-month disappearances. Each one has left me more hollow. Not because I expect perfection, but because I deserve consistency. I deserve the confidence that, when he gives his word, it's reliable, that I matter enough to remember, without being reminded. I've asked him to look at the impact of his decisions, the quiet unraveling of trust that comes when his presence disappears and is replaced by flowers. I don't want flowers as apology. I want presence. But every circle, every "I forgive you," every misunderstanding followed by shiny plans brings me back to the same crossroads: stand my ground or step back into the pain. It's exhausting to keep hoping he'll wake up, because hope is wearing thin. Until now, I've given him benefit of the doubt. I've given us time. I've believed he'd finally see, that one day, he'd remember without being asked. But here's where I am. I'm standing at the edge of something new. I still long for him. I still love him. But I need to know if I matter enough to be remembered. If our relationship is truly worth keeping, it needs to mean something more than occasional luxury around each mistake. I'm done paying for my healing with silence. I'm ready to fight for us, but only if he's ready to meet me. Not with apologies hidden behind gifts, but with attention earned in the quiet hours, when promises are kept, when he stands beside me rather than replacing me. So here I am, asking the hardest question I've ever had to. Do I stay to steer the ship, or do I get off before the course is set again? I want to believe in us, but I need proof that I'll still exist in this journey, even if it costs him comfort. It's time to see if love means standing by each other, or if love for him comes with a price tag.